All right, here in the Middle East, the the picture has been largely a positive one. At least that's the view of my next guest. Osama Mourad is the CEO of Arab Finance and joins me now live from Cairo. Thank you very much for being with us. Let me start with the Q2 earnings, which have been quite mixed throughout the region. You insist that they have been positive. Is that just for Egypt, or would you say the regional picture is indeed a positive one?
It is a regional thing that most earnings are positive, but more for Egypt than the other countries, just based on Egypt's local domestic consumption demand, which does not get affected by international circumstances. The 80-something million population, young and urban population, is consuming a lot on all sectors. Thus driving the Egyptian economy to back to levels of 6% growth.
Now, in your notes, you mentioned that the banking and the financial stocks are particularly attractive in the region, and you say particularly in Egypt. Why is that?
The region in generally, also the investors are sometimes speculative in nature, but regulators and central banks have been very conservative. That's why we have not seen any bankruptcies in the region, in the banking sector at large. There are some few exceptions with one or two countries where central banks had to infuse capital Western style-like or US style-like, and this helped the banks survive. The Egyptian situation is slightly different because Egypt had a previous banking sector problem more than 10 years ago, which caused the Central Bank of Egypt for reforms. These reforms, known as the Banking Reform Program, have enabled the banking sector to bellwether the financial crisis. The loans to deposit ratio in Egypt is slightly above 50% for the banking sector at large. So while everybody suffers from a liquidity crisis, the Egyptian banking sector suffers from liquidity abundance, which in my mind we have not used in Egypt quietly to our advantage in this time, because this abundance of cash could have been used more in favor of the economy in Egypt.
Okay, hi there, it's Lisa over in Singapore. We've got trading volumes in Dubai down around a 4-year low. We've got brokerages closing left, right, and center in that country. If you're a brave, contrarian-minded investor, do you think there are any opportunities in Dubai for people who are willing to go against the grain?
Yes and no. On the short term, there might be opportunities. I'm still hesitant to give a clear buy signal, even on a contrarian basis on Dubai, just measured by pure fundamentals of the number of real estate entities being offered or on the market with the demand. The local demand in Dubai does not satisfy the supply of real estate, and as long as investors across the globe are nervous, Dubai does not return again to being the attractive island in the Gulf, island in the meaning of a spot here that foreigners, both from the Arab region and worldwide, go and buy properties there. The local demand will not satisfy the huge supply which is there. So Dubai will have to wait a lot. It will lag the rest of the economies. Also, on the other hand, Dubai government did not take drastic measures to fight the crisis. There is a huge liquidity crisis, and we have not seen opportunities, vast opportunities, where we have seen some real estate or other related projects being sold at a loss. Till now, everybody is trying to sell and break even or make some money, which means we have not yet squeezed the issue where people actually come in and buy real estate or other related projects at a discount.
Mr. Mourad? Mr. Mourad, is Anna here in London. Good to see you. We're following the BlackBerry story in the Middle East and trying to work out what implications this has. Do you see implications for any investment strategy as a result of the disagreements that we're seeing between various governments and BlackBerry?
It is drastic in the Gulf, but I think they will find a solution. There are already signs in Saudi Arabia. They are testing a fix to the issue. I don't think it will hurt investments as much. Historically, this would affect the region, but now the region is a major driver and consumer and buyer for smartphones and other phones. Wireless companies, cellular phone companies, internet companies are growing dramatically. Even if Saudi stops BlackBerry service, RIM or other like-minded companies could not stop delivery or continue investments in the region just because of this huge demand which is in the region and the growth we're seeing and the growing young population.
Right. Perhaps a quick closing question. We've seen a change in the leadership of the Egyptian exchange, which has been rather warmly welcomed by investors. What's your take on that, and is that the beginning of some real change in the market?
Well, my personal stakes is both gentlemen are very dear colleagues, very professional, very good. It's just sometimes investors, when they don't find any other reasons, they get a little bit superstitious. They think the predecessor had a bad omen on the market. They're more optimistic about the new one. And we want to congratulate Dr. Khalid Siri, who is now in charge of the exchange, by actually looking at doing settlement for T+1 in Egypt. The Egyptian market is trading on a T+2 basis, and this should actually move the Egyptian market in terms of liquidity and activity up in a step change.
All right, we'll leave it there. Osama Mourad is the CEO of Arab Finance, joining us live from Cairo.